Well, this is very interesting. A young man, it seemed, aggrieved about the housing situation, about the amounts of immigration that's coming into the country. And this isn't obviously illegal immigration. This is a planned policy by the Labor government to bring in record numbers. So let's have a listen to what he said to the Prime Minister.
Albanese, you don't think 1.8 million immigrants in 5 years is going to increase demand on the medical system? What about the fact that people my age can't get any housing, we can't get rentals anymore, we have no future in this country anymore? Don't you think that's kind of ridiculous? No? You can't touch me, mate. You know.
There you go. He was shown out. But I think what he said there was very much on point. This is something young people are rightly concerned about,
Absolutely.
Rowan, because they have been priced out of the housing market. A bunch of policies have seen rents skyrocket because there's also been a war on investors at the same time that we are seeing property prices impacted by the lack of supply. We're not having as many houses built because we have so much regulation, costs are so high, and it is just a terrible spiral for young people.
Well, let's look now at that same interview. So there's a young guy on day 2 of the election campaign confronting the Prime Minister. Now have a look at the same interview from the other angle. Watch Chalmers and Albanese and Mark Butler's faces on day 2 of the election campaign, faced by a real Australian. We'll play that clip now. OK, so we actually hear the same thing, the same questions being asked, and the three of them are clueless, like the three monkeys sitting there, James. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And look at the Prime Minister's face, completely clueless on the second day of the election campaign, confronted by a real Australian with real concerns.
Rowan, you know, this young person, his concerns are, I think, legitimate. And, you know, note also, let's note a couple of things. Number one, this person asked a question in a way that was not like some screaming climate protester like the ones who've been heckling Peter Dutton along the way. This was a respectful question and a passionate question. But the fact is, that kid is right. Yeah. He's right. Young people in this country have particularly been sold out when it comes to housing policy, when it comes to mass migration, and when it comes down to, we saw it a few weeks ago, let us not forget the mass minting of Australian citizens right before the vote in Western Sydney and Western Melbourne electorates, because you know what? It just showed the nakedness of what this migration policy is all about. There are three basic pillars to it. Number one is universities, or the tertiary sector, let's call it. Number two is big business. And number three is the Labor Party. They want votes. They want these votes that come from mass migration. And young people, young Australians, are getting left out in the cold. I think it's a disgrace.